All right, back in the basement again today to talk about this rower from Merach. It's their R50 air resistance rower. I don't do a lot of cardio type equipment reviews on this channel, and for good reason. I don't do a lot of cardio necessarily. Now, I do own an Assault Runner. I do own a Peloton bike, but that is usually used for like a pre-workout warm-up or an off-day type thing. I'm not actively doing a ton of cardio down here in the basement. Now, that being said, however, while space is limited and I'm not overly interested in cardio, I do have some wants and needs that sometimes need to be addressed. And one of the things that I've been considering for a while was a rower. And when I think rowers, I think of like Concept 2, probably like most of you out there. However, a Concept 2 rower shipped to me is going to cost me around $1,100, which probably is worth the price, to be honest. You can find Concept 2s reselling on places like Facebook Marketplace for like $900, $800, and they sell all day. They hold up really, really well. That's what they're known for. But still, I don't want to commit that kind of money to something that I don't necessarily need and or know that I actually want. And that's typically how I approach things here in the basement. When I take on something for review that is provided to me at no cost, like this rower was, I did not pay for it, I consider a couple of things. Number one, do I have a need for it? Number two, is it going to be better or replace something that's already existing in my gym? Or number three, is it just a unique opportunity that gives me a chance to try something that I'm not sure on and I don't want to take a flyer on it otherwise? And this one falls into that third bucket in this case. It also helps that they've been doing a ton of promotion, and I've seen a lot of videos on this particular rower on a lot of my other friends' channels, most notably Coach Carp and Nick Dompierre as well. In fact, Coach Carp, big shout out to him because he was the one that was like, hey, this company's been trying to reach you, check your spam filters. And I went and I did, and I got in contact with them and they offered to send me this rower for free to try out. Now, again, because I wasn't really sold on it, hadn't been actively pursuing it, but I thought that this was a good opportunity, especially already seeing some of the feedback that other people had when comparing directly to Concept 2. And I think that's where this thing has really been positioned as a Concept 2 competitor. Probably a nicer way to say that than just saying it's a Concept 2 clone at literally half the price. So I think the retail price on this thing is like $730 on their website. One of the things that I've found with a lot of brands that tend to imitate similar brands is that no matter what the MSRP is, that is never actually the price. So if you just log in, I think it's on sale for like $50 or so underneath that cost. And then of course, anyone who's doing a promotion for it is also given an affiliate code. In this case, I am using and showing you Coach Carps, which knocks another 25% off. So delivered with free shipping to your door, or to my door in this case, it would cost me $510. So about 60% less than what a Concept 2 would. Now, normally, most people would assume that, hey, this is much, much cheaper. It's half the cost. It's got to be half the quality. When in reality, based off of my own use cases, having used Concept 2s in public gyms whenever I travel, most hotels will actually have like a Concept 2 rower or similar, or any public gym you go to that has rowing machines, usually will have a Concept 2 because that is the gold standard. I've used them before. But also people like Coach Carp, who owned a Concept 2, or maybe actually still does, and Nick Dompierre, who has a Concept 2 in his videos, which I'll link both of those that I've mentioned in the description box below. They show you basically side by side that these are very similar, and in some cases, they actually prefer the Merach rower, mainly because of the cushion in the seat tends to be a little bit more snug, and or the unit itself is actually a little bit more beefy. So I think Coach Carp weighed them out, and he actually said that the Merach is a little bit more heavy duty, which isn't saying much because, to be honest, like these rowers are very lightweight and easy to move around despite their size. And this one in particular splits down the middle for easy transport. And I'm sure I'll show you some B-roll right now of me coming in actually setting it up. So a couple of things, which my general feedback. Again, I'm not a rower by any means, but something I was interested in trying. And I just want to give you my general feedback on it. And overall, I think it's pretty decent in terms of what it does. Like, obviously, I don't have a Concept 2 directly beside it, but from my remembrance of using it, my recollection, I'm a smart man, trust me, I don't just lift weights, I'm very well educated, as you can tell by my grammar. But from my recollection, I don't tell a difference. Now, obviously, if they were side by side, it'd be easier to tell, but luckily, Nick and Coach Carp have done that for me already. I don't really notice a difference in how I use this and how it feels. It feels very, very similar. There are some slight aesthetic differences, obviously, and probably the only thing that you're really going to pay attention to that's going to be a big difference for most people that have used Concept 2 is the monitor itself. If you know anything about Concept 2 rowers, their bread and butter is not only how long they last, their longevity, if you will, and their high resale value because of that, but the fact that they use a PM5 monitor. That's like the best monitor according to most people, when it comes to rowers, for the metrics, for the ease of use with the buttons and setting things up and just seeing things on here. And I can definitely say that this monitor leaves a lot to be desired. Now, the nice thing about Concept 2 stuff is even if you have an older, outdated monitor, they sell retrofit kits, so you can actually upgrade your 20-year-old rower with the latest and greatest, if you will. In this case, you kind of get what you get. Now, that being said, this monitor is doable. Meaning for me, again, coming into the basement, who maybe uses this rower once or twice a week for 10 to 15 minutes at a time, I don't really care because it does keep some track of some basic metrics, but I'm not using any of the programming in here. I'm not using the classes. There is an app that comes with this that you can set up. This is Bluetooth enabled. So if you have other Bluetooth enabled apps, I know there's one for cycling that I think also has a rowing counterpart. You could use that with this unit and it'll probably get a little bit better of an experience. But just for me, an average user who doesn't want to spend $1,000 on a Concept 2, coming down here and just being able to see how many strokes I'm getting in is something that works well enough, all things considered. That being said, though, it does leave a lot to be desired. It's hard to see. It's not very user-friendly. It does come with instructions, obviously, but we don't read instructions. So just again, general using leaves a little bit to be desired. It does have a spot here to hold like a tablet or a phone, which can be helpful. So as I mentioned already, I have a Peloton bike. I actually have used the Peloton rowing app with this. The downside is you don't get a lot of those same metrics through that app necessarily, but there are classes and I'm already paying for a Peloton subscription. Merach does have like a premium-based subscription user model, which I think gives you more options. However, that's not something that I wanted to pay for or really play around with because even though they offered to give it to me for free, I wouldn't imagine most of you would want to pay for anything subscription-based either in that regard. That being said, being a big fan of Peloton, I did consider getting a Peloton rower at one point just because I really liked the UI and the interface and I was already paying for the subscription as is. And I really liked the class structure, the music structure, the metrics, the tracking, the competition aspects, which the Merach app does have instances of that. But I just really like how Peloton does it better. It's kind of like you're either Apple or Android. In this case, you're probably Peloton or not. And even though I can use my Peloton app on my mobile device or my tablet on here, it's just not the same necessarily. So I'd be happy just coming down here and using this sitting here like 10 or 15 minutes as is, as part of my warm-up or one of my recovery days, and also just watching like a YouTube video or a show or something like that. That's just my own personal preference. In terms of actual usability, you have a lot of travel here on the seat, as you guys can tell, which is really nice. So if you have longer legs like me, I mean, you're not gonna have any problem getting a full stretch. This unit also has a 350-pound weight capacity. So if you're a bigger guy, luckily for me, I weigh 349 pounds, just barely fit it in, but it's going to support you. Coach Carp, who's a massively handsome individual, is also a little bit larger than me. I think in terms of body weight, he fits on here fine. I know that's a concern he's had with other rowers. So again, check out his review if you want that kind of perspective as well. In terms of everything else, like the foot plates, some of the things that are a benefit over what I've seen from Concept 2 are specifically the straps. So you get some bigger, beefier straps, which are really nice. You have these D handles on it for easy grip. Really nice to see here. Again, I have a little bit of a larger size foot, size 13. Don't have any issues here. There's still plenty of room for adjustability down here. I've actually had my 7-year-old give this a go and kind of fits. Just have to adjust the cups a little bit, but he can get on here as well. So it's fun for the whole family potentially. The handle itself is what you would expect, a basic handle. This thing is chain driven. Again, I haven't had any issues in the time that I've had this just using it, and the unit's kicking on right now just because it sent some action. But again, a lot of things are familiar with what you'd see any kind of rower, especially Concept 2, if that's what you're coming from, both aesthetically, and also with the actual air system here, having this adjustability where you can go anywhere from 1 up to 10 in terms of altering the resistance. Things are very familiar and for good reason, but one of the things that's not familiar is the price. So it's about half the cost. So from me, from a person who's not very well versed on rowers as I am barbells and weight plates and racks, I think this is definitely doable if you're looking for a rowing experience similar to the Concept 2, but you're not willing to pay over twice the cost for. Now, if you're a die-hard rower or you really want to like put this in a commercial type space, I would probably lean more towards the Concept 2 in that regard, just because there's a longer history of them being around and also a resale market. If you decide this isn't for you, you could turn around and, like I said, sell it for almost what you paid for it. In this case, with Merach, what you're getting is a budget-friendly option with a few drawbacks, but at the same time, going to give you a very similar experience overall. I am not going to give you my discount code for this because I did not partner for a discount code, again, because I am not using this consistently. I still find I use my bike or my treadmill more than this, but this is a nice option to have. Again, I do like the fact that this is easily kind of put away, so it's not something that's going to take up a lot of space in my gym. I just break this in half and stick it in a corner until I want to use it. So if you are interested in this, I really highly recommend you actually use Coach Karp's code, which is Eric25. And again, check out his video that he's done because he does a much more thorough job as he has a lot more experience than me on this here rower. So with that, as always, thanks for watching. And in the meantime, stay big.